Welcome to Brampton Focus. As the Peel region and Brampton continue to be very multicultural, the opportunity to celebrate diversity through music, art, and food is a wonderful occasion. My name is Michael A. Charbon. The whole month of April, we celebrate Sikh Heritage Month, and we use PAMA, the Peel Art Museum, as a vehicle to get that message out. That's next on Brampton Focus. Welcome back to Brampton Focus. When you hear the term one God, that phrase from a religious standpoint, you think of a Sikh. Sikhism. The word Sikh actually is the word discipline and the word learner. Now, the religion was founded in the Punjab region of India, and Sikhism has 25 to 28 million followers in the world. It's very large. It's the 9th largest religion in the world. And here in Brampton, we are very fortunate to have PAMA, which is the Peel Art Gallery and Museum Archives, and they're celebrating, as of Friday, April 1st, Sikh Month. And we have two guests to talk about some of the art that is going to take place, the celebration that is going to take place, and invite you, the people of Brampton, to participate. Beside me is Miss MALKEET SANDHU, who is a project coordinator, and also ANNEMARIE HAGAN, who is a music curator for PAMA, which is the Peel Art Gallery, Museum, and Archives. Ladies, welcome to Brampton Focus, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
A whole month to celebrate Sikh heritage, art, fun, food, and travel. I'll go to you first, ANNEMARIE. There's a lot of things to be appreciative of, and you really are at the apex of this with the Peel Art Gallery.
Yeah, we're very fortunate at PAMA, and we actually serve all of the community of Peel, and we have been working with the local Sikh community, and people call it Sikh or Sikh. In Punjab, it's actually Sikh, and so there's been a movement to sort of reclaim that original rather than the anglicized version of it. So when I say Sikh Heritage Month, I'm not talking about your health, I'm talking about a culture and a faith that's very rich.
I'm a victim of that stereotype, unfortunately, I have to say. When we say Sikhism, Sikhism doesn't, in certain Anglophone terms, that's why it's so important to be able to be exposed to these different terms and to bring subjects like that out. I think that's good. But more importantly, I interrupted you.
That's okay.
As of April 1st, we're celebrating Sikh Month, and PAMA is such a large part of that. Well, what are some of the things that people in Brampton can look forward to?
Well, this is the third year for Sikh Heritage Month at PAMA. We started working with the committee 3 years ago, and I was lucky enough, I've been coordinating it since then. So we've really worked in partnership with the volunteer committee that MALKEET is representing right now, and looking at bringing, it's interesting to take a 150-year-old courthouse and jail, and that really represents our traditional roots of sort of a English, Scottish, Irish, Welsh background of this area, which is what it was originally, and bring it to life with who we are today as Peel, because Peel is incredibly diverse and growing, and in particular Brampton, with the South Asian community and a very large Sikh community, it really seemed appropriate. Our goal at PAMA is to bring Peel's stories to life, and by working together we do that through events and exhibitions, and this year the event has actually grown beyond our walls to include 3 other venues, Alderley and the Rose Theatre, as well as Brampton City Hall, which is really exciting to us that it's so big that it's all of downtown now.
MALKEET, you're the project coordinator. How important is PAMA to supporting this community and being able to expose some of the interesting things that the Sikh community has to share with the people of Brampton?
So PAMA, I can't even start to explain how important PAMA is. PAMA is one of our largest partners, and they've supported us for 3 years now. And without their support, a lot of our projects, our entire project really wouldn't have been possible. They're very supportive and collaborative, and our relationship is it's just it's growing and becoming stronger with every year that we work together.
Diversity is such an important thing. Anne-Marie, you commented on that a moment ago with regards to the people in Peel. A whole month dedicated to one heritage and to one religion. Some would say that's overdone, but it's not, because there's so much there, and there's so many people that are currently in the community that continue to contribute. If you were going to talk about the different aspects of it, Anne-Marie, what would you say, from art to music to what are some of the other things?
I will answer that, but can I answer the first part of your question?
Absolutely.
It's really interesting because this idea of heritage months, February is Black Heritage Month, and April is Sikh Heritage Month. This year, for the first time, October is Islamic Heritage Month. They are a little bit of a dichotomy, because on one hand, it's great because that month gives you an opportunity to promote and celebrate the culture, but it also means that it can be that it only happens in that month. And one of the things we've done at PAMA is to make sure with every community partner we've worked with that we take those stories and integrate them throughout all of our stories all year, and particularly with Canada 150, we do that through the whole year. So this year with the events, for example, opening night is going to have music and amazing food and gallery talks with it. And one of our, we have two major exhibits, one about the Komagata Maru, which is a ship that in 1914 was turned away by the Canadian government. Everyone on it was a British subject. They'd come here from India. They were Sikh and Muslim and Hindu, and they were turned away really on racial grounds. As the
what year was that?
1914.
Oh, goodness.
The same year my grandfather arrived from Yorkshire, same papers, he was welcomed with open arms. So you know, that's an important story for us to remember and tell.
When you talk about, Malkeet, Sikh Heritage Month, what kind of pride does that give you? I mean, your parents came here in the 80s. You were born here. When you see how we're now embracing different cultures, and there is, in some instances, less of a divide, in others, a wider divide. A month, Sikh Heritage Month, gives you an opportunity to really show all the different aspects. And using PAMA as a base is a pretty good area to start, is it not?
It's a wonderful area to start. I think it's really important, especially in Brampton, because we do have such a large Sikh community here, to have that dialogue and that engagement, not just within our community, but with other communities in Brampton, so that they understand more about who we are and that we can welcome all cultures and all backgrounds.
Yeah, all cultures and all backgrounds is very, I mean, one of the things about Sikhism or Sikhism is all human beings are equal. That's the way that they characterize it, and people of all religion and races are welcome in any of the gurdwaras. I can say from personal experience, it's been a very engaging and beautiful experience to go to a gurdwara. I would suggest you would encourage people to visit a gurdwara and experience what Sikhism is all about.
Of course, going to a gurdwara is a wonderful experience. This is a really cool story. Her mother side, the Golden Temple in Amritsar, it's actually built with 4 different entrances, one facing north, south, east, and west, and that symbolizes that it doesn't matter where you're from, you could be from anywhere and you're welcome here. And that goes to say with all of the gurdwaras here in Brampton, all over the world, we welcome people from all faiths, from all backgrounds, to come and experience our culture, experience our faith, and experience our traditions.
And also the beautiful thing about Sikhism is that women and men are equal. There's no separation, there's nothing, where we all march as one. We're talking about Sikh Heritage Month. You're watching Brampton Focus. My name is Michael Sharon. When we come back, we're going to talk about some people in politics that you might remember or recognize their voices, and they are proud Sikhs. My name is Michael Sharon. We'll be back with more right after this. Welcome back to Brampton Focus. We're talking about the Sikh Heritage Month, which is taking place as of April 1st. And we're also talking about PAMA, which is the Peel Art Gallery, Museum and Archives. Joining me today in our second segment is Ms. MALKEET, SANDHU, who is the project coordinator, and ANNEMARIE HAGAN, a real supporter. She's the museum curator of PAMA. When we talk about Sikhs in politics and Sikhs who are part of the lexicon of politics, it's interesting when you start to mention some of the names who are involved. Jagmeet Singh, Singh, Navdeep Bains, Gurpreet Dhillon, Raj Grewal, Ruby Sahota. All these people are so involved in politics and trying to increase our quality of life and represent democracy and equality. That's quite a compliment to people of the Sikh religion.
Okay, so yeah, being politically active is actually a huge part of Sikhism. Not many people know this, but one of the core philosophies in Sikhism is called Meeti Pidi, and Meeti Pidi means having...
Meeti Pidi.
Meeti Pidi, yes.
Yep, that's
and
cool.
It means having both political authority as well as spiritual authority. So there is a stress on political authority. There's a huge movement within Sikhism that's been since the beginning of Sikhism in community empowerment and social justice. And so the reason why you see so many Sikh politicians is because of the teachings of Meeti Pidi.
So when you look at 1867, we're celebrating our 150-year anniversary. Way back when, John A. Macdonald wrote a letter asking for an army of Sikhs to defend. Now, when you think, wow, that's 150 years ago. Well, look at Harjit Singh is our defense minister. Interesting how it's all gone full circle. And you actually have an interesting story about how that relates to it.
Yes, Harjit Singh, who actually was a police officer and served in his local regiment in Vancouver. And what's really interesting is the regiment he served in is the same regiment, and then after that he's gone on to become an MP and our Minister of Defense. But that regiment in 1914 was the same regiment that was used to sort of defend Canada, and I'm putting that in air quotes, defend Canada from this ship full of immigrants from India. So that 100 years ago, you know, that same regiment was pushing those people away, and then later has come to embrace him. When he was younger as part of that regiment, shows the change and growth of Canada as we've come to recognize human rights and to embrace diversity. When
you talk to Madam Mayor Linda Jeffrey, the mayor of Brampton, their cultural and business connections to the Punjab has been so great, and we can see businesses now, whereas let's say 10 years ago when you saw someone wearing a turban, there would be many people that would look and say, that looks very strange. Today, it's commonplace. And our business relationship with the Punjab and with India has been so strong now. It's interesting how we've all matured.
It's true. It's definitely true. If you look here in the Punjabi community in Brampton, you can see that a lot of businesses are Punjabi, they are Sikh, and they bring their Sikh values and their Sikh teachings to the work that they do, and they try as best as they can to make sure that their work is inclusive and involves all different communities throughout Brampton.
One of the members of the Sikh community, which I didn't realize as a young child, was a Tigerjeet Singh. As a young child, I used to watch wrestling, and he was one of those icons. And to this day, Tigerjeet Singh, still an active member of the community and a promoter of Sikhism here in Brampton. So always good to remember those who, how would you say, stormed the pathway at the very beginning. Anne-Marie, when you see some of the artists and some of the accomplishments that this community has done, it's almost shocking that we haven't done a Sikh month heritage. This is our second year, I believe, right? But there's so much to discover.
It's actually the third year of Sikh, that's okay, Sikh Heritage Month here in Ontario, and it was actually one of our local MPPs you mentioned, Jagmeet Singh, who presented at Queen's Park this idea of having this month to recognize this culture and faith. And I've heard him speak on that, and it's actually very moving because he talks about growing up in Windsor, where his family lived when he was a child, and he and his brother were the only ones who were of that faith, and that they were, you know, very aware of not seeing themselves reflected in their community. And he really has taken on wanting to make sure that other members of his community see themselves reflected, see the possibilities for involvement and engagement. But he's also very inclusive to other faiths and other areas.
The deputy leader of the NDP, and you see the Komagata Maru again. Pictures like this you look at today and we're just saying, wow. Back then, a man in a turban was something very different for Canadians and for many Europeans. I think it's a testament to how we've matured as a community. When you look at someone like Jagmeet Singh, who wears colorful turbans and is always there, what does that make you feel like when you see someone in the limelight of politics representing your religion?
So it makes me feel very proud, and it also makes me feel very hopeful that things are changing, that things aren't the way they were maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and that there's hope for the future, and there's hope for Sikh kids growing up, and they know that they have like a figure to look up to and somebody that inspires them to feel that they can become whoever they want to be.
As a curator of PAMA, what is the biggest message that you would want to communicate to people when spending a month on Sikh heritage?
I think if I could say it in one word, which is welcome. We want to welcome everybody from all backgrounds to come and come to PAMA and see, have an opportunity to learn a little bit more about themselves and the history of our community, as well as to learn about this specific culture and faith. And I'd also say we're very open to working with community, all our different communities, because Peel has so much diversity, and we if you come and don't see yourself represented and want to come and talk to us, we want to change our collections so that they represent who we are today and who we will be into the future. Because really, our 150th anniversary is about our past, but it has to be about our future, who we will become, and what our values are, and who we're going to become together. And things like our Black History exhibitions, which we opened in February for Black History Month, are still there till September, because Black history is Canadian history. It's actually about slavery in Canada.
PAMA? Because it's such an important factor in bringing out these cultures and bringing out these things. Who funds you guys?
We're very fortunate to be funded mainly by the region of Peel, so we're owned and operated by the region of Peel.
Right.
And the term of council priorities are really focused on building community, making Peel a cohesive community, and we really play a role in that through how we bring different cultures together, part of our story, and weaving the art and the culture and our archival records all together, and valuing everyone's history. You quoted John A. Macdonald, and he's awesome. He's our first Prime Minister. But everyone's history matters. It's the important people and it's the everyday people.
When we come back, we're going to drill down on PAMA. My name is Michael A. Charbon. You're watching Brampton Focus. Our topic today, Sikh Heritage Month. Back with more on Brampton Focus right after this. Welcome back to Brampton Focus, our final segment, and we're talking about Sikh Heritage Months. They say that Sikh Heritage Month started as a way to celebrate the rich Canadian Sikh history that extends over 100 years in the region of Peel and PAMA. Their celebrations will bring together exhibitions, workshops, and many other events to showcase Sikh culture and history. And when you talk about history, when you talk about culture, when you talk about food, you can't go much farther than having a Sikh party. Joining me today are two people who are integral in bringing Sikh Heritage Month to us in the region of Peel. First of all, MALKEET SANDHU, who is a project coordinator, and of course, ANNEMARIE HAGAN, who is a museum curator for PAMA. And PAMA stands for Peel Art Galleries and Museums and Archives. When we talk about art, there's way more art than people really know. And one artist is Charles Pachter. And it's interesting the role that he plays in this whole celebration this month.
We are very honored here in Peel to be hosting an exhibit by internationally known artist Charles Pachter. He's a wonderful artist and painter, and he has a sense of humor as well, and he loves our history.
Now, this first example that he did here, this looks very reminiscent of our 150 celebration logo that you see all over the place.
Well, he's starting with the maple leaf, which
Right.
is, of course, is the icon of Canada, and bringing in all the colors that really represent the complexity of who we are as a nation, our diversity. And as you see in his exhibit, which is a
What's this done on, by the way?
That's an oil painting.
It's an oil painting.
It's oil painting. Here's a picture showing you Charles. He's a really fascinating character with just such a great sense of humor and such a love of Canada. You know, know, he plays with our icons, and there are paintings of butter tarts. There are paintings of World War I airplanes, of nurses who served in World War I. There's an amazing painting of Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau and one of his son Justin Trudeau. So he sort of plays with all these things, and he has a lot of fun, in particular with images of royalty.
Here's the one. This is one of Crackjo's famous shots,
yes,
right?
He's famous for his queen on a moose. And I should note, this exhibit opens April 1st and runs through to June 11th. And he's also given us a major gift of his work, which we very much appreciate. And some of that will be on display within the exhibition. And right adjacent to this exhibition in the art gallery space is an exhibit called the Komagata Maru, A Journey to Canada, which
right.
I've referenced already, about this ship of British subjects from India who were trying to immigrate to Canada. A few had already immigrated to the West Coast, but there was growing racism, and unfortunately our immigration policy was such that they were turned away. And this exhibition explores their journey, and that's a really important story in our 150th anniversary, to be looking at some of the darker parts of our history, but to also see, as you mentioned earlier, the success of politicians and the success of the Sikh community, and that is also really reflected. And Justin Trudeau, as Prime Minister, did apologize for the incident last year. And we are so fortunate. We worked with guest curator Lali Marwa, and he's also very involved with the Sikh Foundation of Canada, who from day one on our PAMA's partnership with the community has just been so generous and supportive of us in terms of wanting people to really come out and learn about the culture. And they've provided sponsorship that actually allows us to offer free admission for the whole month. And that's admission to everything
so
for the whole
said,
month.
Anne-Marie. I got to compliment you on that. It's so wonderfully said. Now, I want to drill down before we run out of time.
Yep.
Look, tell us a little bit more about what's going to happen during this month. What are some of the things? And again, it's free of charge, so anybody can attend.
Of course, we welcome everyone from all over Brampton and the GTA as well. So we have a lot of programming over the entire course of April. But our first event is opening night, which will be on April 1st, Saturday, this Saturday actually, from 6 to 10 p.m. and it'll be at PAMA. And it's going to be a really exciting night. We're going to have live performances. We're going to have a actual trial play going on. We have musicians, we have artists. The exhibits will be open for the first time for everyone to view. Of course, we'll have free food. What's a party without free food,
Yep.
right? So that's the first event that we have. We have programming throughout all of April. Most of our events, or actually all of our events, are on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Most of them are at PAMA, but our Friday night events are actually going to be at City Hall as well as Rose Theatre. So some of the events that we have outside of PAMA, we have Rupi Kaur coming in. She's a New York Times bestselling author. We have Khalsa Aid coming in, and they are a human rights organization. They provide relief internationally. So the founder of that organization is going to be coming in. We have Fateh, he's a local rapper, and he's going to be coming in and doing a talk about what it means to be a Sikh person in the rap industry as well as the Punjabi music industry. We have tons of dynamic programming, and you can find out more on our website.
Well, when you talk about dancing, when you talk about art, music, and food, you couldn't have a better combination. Is there one thing that stands out, Anne-Marie? Is there one thing that you really are looking forward to in particular? I mean, there's so many wonderful things happening. Is there one thing that stands out to you?
I think one of the most exciting parts of it is working with the community, is local Sikh artists contribute artwork. So we have an exhibit in the tunnel that connects different parts of PAMA that features a variety of artists and photography and a variety of mediums. Media, but really what's exciting about it is it's giving people a chance to exhibit their work and to bring it together. So when you see people, you know, showing their friends and their family their work on the wall for the first time and bringing everyone together, I'll be honest, that's one of the highlights for me.
Malkeet, I'll give you a final moment as a project coordinator, just to talk to our folks at home and tell them why they should come and check out Sikh Heritage Month at PAMA.
So I think that everybody should come up, because not only is it a great learning experience, it's also a great way to just have a good time. You can check out exhibits, there's free foods, there's all sorts of great and exciting dynamic programming that you can be a part of. A lot of it's very interactive, so you're not just watching and looking at things, but you're getting your hands dirty, you're trying different things. You have the opportunity to try art, doing some artwork yourself. You're actually going to have the opportunity to try playing some instruments too. So there's all sorts of things. There's something for everyone, whether you're into photography, whether you're into poetry, visual art, musical art, you'll find something that you will enjoy.
Malkeet Sandhu, the project coordinator. Anne-Marie, with just under a minute left, how do they get in touch? Where can they get more information?
Okay, the PAMA website is at pama.peel.ca.
Right.
And also the Sikh Heritage Month has its own website, which is OntarioSikhHeritageMonth.com.
Beautiful. So it's taking place Saturday, April the 1st, and it's at the Peel Art Gallery, or it's also called PAMA, which is the Peel Art Gallery, Museum and Archives. And it's a whole month. We encourage you to participate. And we'd like to thank Anne-Marie Hagan, who is the curator, and I'd like to thank you for watching. My name is Michael A. Charbon. You've been watching Brampton Focus. We look forward to hearing more from you and having the opportunity to be in front of you again soon. Thanks for watching.